Wait, how did I die? What killed me?
Oh my god!
No way! No! Oh my gosh!
Triple G, he's the name on the scene. Loaded with the sauce, living the dream. Let's get right action, he's the real deal. Streaming live now, making you feel. Triple G, he's the one we see. Loaded with the sauce, bringing all the energy. Living, streaming, and out, you can't deny. Triple G, watch him rise and fly. From dusk till dawn, he's on the grind. Every single stream, blowing energy. Living, streaming, and out, you can't deny. Triple G, watch him rise and fly. So tune in now, don't miss a beat. Triple G's the legend, can't be beat. Streaming live, making history. Triple G, the one and only, that's the key.
Wait, how did I die? What killed me?
Oh my god!
No way! No! Oh my gosh!
Triple G, he's the name on the scene. Loaded with the sauce, living the dream. Let's get right action, he's the real deal. Streaming live now, making you feel. Triple G, he's the one we see. Loaded with the sauce, bringing all the energy. Living, streaming,
All right, everybody.
can't deny.
All right.
Triple G, watch him rise and fly. From dusk till dawn, he's on the grind. Every single stream, growing energy. Living, streaming, and out, you can't deny. Triple G, watch him rise and fly. So tune in now, don't miss a beat. Triple G's the legend, can't be beat. Streaming live, making history. Triple G, the one and only, that's the key.
Wait, how did I die?
All right. How y'all doing? This is Triple G for the podcast Operation Cod Talk. I hope all you Cod Talkers are pretty excited for this week's news and our topic. We are talking about ranked. Yes, you heard me right, ranked. We're going to break down what it means to be in each level of ranked. We're going to watch some videos, posts, whatever you want to call it. We're going to go over a little bit of news. There hasn't been too much news, so don't be excited because it's a lot of the same stuff. It's kind of ridiculous. And then we are going to end our piece on questions normally, but tonight I'm going to find out what perplexity goes on and finds out from the community what some of the ranked needs are towards the upper echelons. Most of the lower echelons are pretty much the same, and the requirements are a lot different, right? So without further ado, there hasn't been a whole lot of news and or updates, right? Because we aren't expected any updates until season 2, right? We're still waiting for a lot of the updates. You know, there's a little bit of backlash with some of the oopsies that they've made. They forgot to give us the drivers or the updates or whatever, and it's kind of it's a little on them for those things, right? And there isn't a whole lot we can do when it comes down to them. Oh my gosh, bro. My camera. It doesn't want to sit in the right spot. Isn't that crazy? Anyways, right? So it's kind of up to us to figure some things out when it comes to what's going on in the community, how we can basically do our best to make it the best community possible, right? So, that's all that I've got for news. No updates, lots of cheaters, yada, yada, yada. We've all seen those videos of them talking about all that stuff, right? So definitely keep yourself protected. without further ado, let's get into the meat of it. We only got your host here, Triple G. Everybody else is kind of on vacation or doing other things, right? Which is understandable. Pickles, I believe, is in Georgia. I don't think he's going to be back for a few days. And he said he was going to take his laptop, but I don't know if everything worked out on that. And then we've got TDI, who is, doing TDI stuff. So, when you got people that you can't rely on, you just got to cover. You just got to do what you can to cover, right? So here I am covering. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's segment. So with ranked, until we hit season 2, unless you don't touch ranked for the first season, you will start off at bronze. Bronze is super easy to get out of. Everybody should be able to get out of bronze, right? We're going to break down BR ranked first, right? You don't have any cost to get in. And unless you get killed right off a rip, you should be able to get some kind of, SR. On top of the SR bonuses, which, right, if you're progressing already, help you progress just a little bit faster. It's a great balancing system that allows there to be an abundance of SR at the beginning of a season. That way, those that are separating themselves early on have that opportunity to get to the level that they should be on faster, right? The only time that it's a detriment is when you don't get all of those SR bonuses, which it should not be that hard. It's basically 100 kills, get a first place, right? Get top 5, get top 10, get top 25, and I think one other one, right? Kills and assists, get 100 of them. Super easy. You actually have like 5 different levels to that one. So it actually starts off with get 1 kill. If you can get 1 kill, you get 100 SR. Super easy, super simple, right? The next one I believe is 5 kills. Then it's like 25 kills. Then it's like, I want to say like 50 kills and then 100 kills or something like that. It's not that hard to go through those, right? So definitely, if you haven't tried out ranked, go in there and give that a shot. It's pretty sweet how fast you can move right out of bronze, especially considering you've got nothing to pay for deployment and nothing to pay for your death tax. Boom, super easy. And actually BR doesn't have a death tax. So silver, you probably got to know yourself a little better. You are probably learning what kind of metas to run, and you're organizing your loadouts. You're working as a team, right? There's going to be team stuff to do along every one of these. But as of right now, you don't have to necessarily master anything. You can still pretty much, if you are at least diamond or crimson level already, if you don't know your level, then silver might show to be a little difficult. However, if you're in the higher ranks, you're going to steamroll everybody in silver. Right? It's a little bit longer than bronze. You move into silver, it's a little bit longer to get through that. But right, it should not be extremely difficult. You're still towards the bottom end of the skill base when you're in silver, right? As you start moving into gold, though, you're definitely thinking and knowing who you're going to play with, who's good, who's not, and definitely try to stick with those people, right? Definitely you're still building team movement, right? You don't want to stick all bunched together unless you're trying to push a whole team that's bunched together, right? You might spread out just a little bit so that you can take different angles. You might have somebody that runs like a wide so that they can cut that angle off and force people to move back. You might start, as you're, shooting people, you might start making pushes that are good so that you can go up and finish your people, right? You're going to maybe make a team drop. You're going to come up with a drop zone that that you can adjust to very well, right? You don't want it to be too, you might go a little hot sometimes, but you don't want it to be like super hot when you're going in for your drops in gold. You are starting to play against people that are a little better, and that they do understand at least some of the fundamentals of the game, right? As you move up to the upper side of gold, you are starting to hit the middle of the bell curve where you've got an abundance of people. I would say like towards the end of gold 3, right? As they kind of start putting you into platinum lobbies, right? You are hitting close to the average. As you pass through platinum, you're kind of at the top of that bell curve, right? Platinum, I would say, is the average skill base of the community. That is where you're going to have to start differentiating yourselves from people. You might have, 6 different people that you're still teaming with. And or you might hit this area and realize that there are a few people that you need to cut from your rotation because they just cannot handle pushing through plat, right? As you start getting up towards the top of plat, you actually, a matter of fact, start hitting, you start differentiating yourself, you start moving out, right? In plat, people are going to hit more of their shots, right? So if you are missing your shots, they're good. You're centering. You definitely need to be, you have to have a good centering. And you are most likely running metas. You know exactly what your loadouts look like. You know exactly what your perks look like. You're starting to understand and know the game inside and out, right? You know a few of the tricks of the trade. If you're on PC, right, you're probably overclocking your controller. You're probably doing anything and everything you can to try and squeeze some extra stuff out as you start rolling into diamond, right? You're making more team plays. The team is close together, close at hand. You aren't exposing yourself. You aren't pushing too far out from your team. You can still make plays and kind of, try and push out a little bit to cut people off and take different angles. As you are fighting with somebody, right, you are making pushes towards that person incrementally inside of that fight, right? You are not sitting back. You are on the hunt as a plat, right? And as you move into diamond, right, you just get more aggressive with that. You're not really missing shots anymore, right? You might have a few bad angles that you take, but you are mostly hitting your shots at this point. You're getting up to the higher side of your accuracy, right? You understand the game inside and out. You understand your metas inside and out. You are constantly online looking for different builds, different things people are doing, right? You have a very particular playset. You're mastering your skills at this point, right? By the time you leave diamond, you should have your skills mastered, right? Heading into crimson, right? So you've got those skills mastered. You might have 4 people that you are consistently playing with that can play up at that level. You're about ready to pick your team in diamond, right? You kind of have an idea of who you want. As you start pushing through that, you might change it a little bit depending upon how they handle and play through diamond, right? You are constantly practicing. You are, throwing some bots up, right? You never go into your ranked matches cold. You're always warming yourself up before you go into a ranked match, right? If your team's not on, then you're not playing ranked, right? You're taking your time. I mean, you still can push through it solo, and that might be something that you want to do, but you probably have another account to do that with, right? Your team skills, like you're mastering your team skills as well. This is something else that you're doing. You're mastering your team skills. You guys are in constant communication, right? You're chilling, but you're in constant communication, right? You're building each other up. You're getting ready for pushes, right? You are focused when you are playing. If you're not focused, you're most likely getting off, right? If the team's not doing good, you're not staying on for too long, right? But if the team is doing good, you guys are pushing through, making that push to crimson, right? As you start exiting and leaving diamond, you need to definitely have some crimson skills, which is, you don't miss shots anymore. You don't really take bad angles anymore. and you don't really allow yourself to be in a position where you're not in the power positions anymore. You are constantly taking power positions on teams, right? Your teammates are constantly taking different power positions. You guys are able to hold down your areas really well. You guys are always on the hunt for teams. You're moving constantly. If you look up at those higher echelons, there is no stop. People do not stop, even to aim for a second, right? Unless they are shooting, they are moving, right? They are constantly gathering information. You are constantly moving, constantly gathering information and intel, and you are making the best plays based upon that intel that you have. You aren't making many mistakes at this point. And if you do make mistakes, you're having a bad day, right? You know who you're playing with in Crimson. There is no shadow of a doubt. You have your team, you don't mess with your team, and that's the team that's going to take you to Iridescent. You know it. They know it. It's just a matter of time, right? It's a matter of the right day for you at this point. Right. And yeah, so you're not missing stuff. You're not messing up stuff. You're not making mistakes. You're constantly moving. You're constantly in communication with your team. You have mastered your skill set. You are starting to, as you leave Crimson, you are starting to differentiate yourself from any kind of average player, right? You definitely, you don't lose your one-on-ones. You don't lose your fights. The only time you lose is when you're outnumbered. That's the only time you ever lose, right? Even then, it's up to your team to make that recovery in a situation where it's a 2v1, and then right, 2 people on their team take you on, 2 people on your team take one of theirs on, right? That's the only time that you're expected to lose a fight, right? So as you move into Iridescent, you are definitely cream of the crop. You're not missing shots. Matter of fact, you look like you have aimbot at that point. Most times, you can still have bad days, bad stuff, whatever, right? You probably live close to a server. You probably have you're probably looking to go semi-pro if you're hitting, upper Iridescent, up in the top 250s. You're probably looking for some kind of semi-pro gig. You're probably entering tournaments, right? You're winning money. You're doing all sorts of stuff to better an actual career, right? You're actually thinking in Iridescent a career in Call of Duty Warzone, right? Your team's mastered their stuff. They've got, right, as a team, you guys are a cut above. There's not really a whole lot of other people that can take you and your team on, right? You're starting to hit above that 2% mark. Passing through Iridescent, the top 250, you really have to plan for that. You probably have to start off at Diamond from the Iridescent split when you go into the new season. If you're going to make a push for top 250, you definitely are grinding that day in, day out. You're not touching grass. You're not taking showers. You're not, you're barely eating, drinking enough liquids. You're just doing everything that you can to constantly be pushing that forward, because you are definitely cream of the crop, right? You don't miss your shots. You don't take bad angles. Even on bad days, you're still a cut above. That is how it goes. You're probably playing in lobbies where you definitely do not have ping advantage, latency advantage. So you have to make sure that you get yourself used to that. You're always constantly practicing the game. You are taking VODs and vids from some of your failures with your team, and you're going over them consistently. You are checking your work. You guys are making sure that you know your plays. You guys have plays. You guys have, right? You have made yourself a mastermind inside of the Battle Royale ranks, right? So your team's way beyond mastering stuff. You guys are going into you're going into realms that most people don't even know about, don't even talk about. It's a place that you want to be if you want to make a career out of Call of Duty. And if that's you, you definitely need to be practicing and reaching towards that every single day, because it does not come easy. It's not the easiest thing in the world. to be top 250, and you have to constantly be grinding so you don't drop out of that top 250 as other iridescents that want that spot are fighting for it, right? So you have no life at that point. Call of Duty is your life, right? Now, multiplayer ranked is a little bit different. In BR, it's big map, right? So you've got a lot more people on the field. And it is definitely a lot more skill based. Like certain dynamic skills in that. In multiplayer, there are skills that are required, like you need to be able to aim, you need to be able to do all that stuff. However, when it comes down to it, it's speed and timing. That is how multiplayer is won. Showing restraint, waiting for the plays, waiting for the setups, right? So as we kind of move into that, stuff, right? So as you are moving through the ranks in multiplayer in bronze, depending upon when you start, what season you start in, it could be easy and or it could be a little difficult, right? You don't necessarily need a team at bronze. You kind of pushing through it pretty easily. It just depends on, your teammates and whether or not they're playing too. As you get into silver, you might meet a few people. You might start forming some kind of camaraderie with some people, but you don't know necessarily yet who's going to be running with you. You are you're starting to form some skills, and you're starting to learn angles and cuts and different things that you need in order to push through silver. Silver's a little bit longer. As you progress up, each rank gets longer and longer and longer. Not by a whole lot. There is no SR challenges in multiplayer ranked. That is not something that is yet available. They might not do that. However, towards the beginning of the seasons, you usually earn a little bit more SR in order for them to flood that system so that the higher up ranks definitely have the opportunity to absorb some of that extra SR that's out there so that they can maintain those upper echelons. Okay. As you go into gold, you are practicing on a regular basis. You're starting to form some actual team skills, team bonds. You've got a handful of people that you're playing with on a regular basis. You can still push solo a little bit, right? As you hit plat, you're hitting that bell curve again, like we talked about earlier. It's kind of the skill base that most of the community is going to be in, and it, you got this curve, and then it kind of fades out a little bit, right? As you hit in plat, you're playing more with your team. You're definitely building those skills. You know exactly who is where and what they have. Usually, on most maps, unless they're bigger maps that have longer files, you usually have 1 to 2 SMG players and 2 or so assault rifle players. They had snipers, but that's a whole nother story. You definitely know where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be, and you're starting to master those skills. As you get into diamond, in order to push out a diamond, you have mastered those skills. You're not losing a lot of your one-on-one gunfights at this point. It gets a lot tougher, so you're doing more practice, and you're definitely keeping yourself up to date. You're probably running only metas. Right? And as your personal skills start to master and your team skills start to master, you start pushing out of diamond and into crimson. As you're in crimson, you're starting to lose touch with your life and your reality. Call of Duty is starting to become, that main thing. You're definitely going back and watching VODs. You guys are definitely talking about specific setups and plans, and you are hitting teams hard every single time you go into a fight. You're always, your rotations, where you're supposed to be, you know how to hold yourself and search and destroy, right? You are definitely constantly on with your team. You're starting to also form that specific team that you're going to play with, that you're going to push with, to make it too iridescent. You don't play with others. And if you are doing it solo, then you have a lot farther to go. Usually it's a lot harder of a grind, right? As you hit iridescent, if you are planning to go top 250, you're most likely attempting to make Call of Duty a career, a tournament style, earning money, all of that stuff. You're probably traveling to go to LAN parties, and all sorts of stuff, because you're trying to bend your skills as much as possible, get around as many different people as possible to play against in LAN tournaments, and you're most likely having opportunities to win and earn money and make a lifestyle out of Call of Duty. You probably have a following of people. You may or may not want to stream. It's up to you, as you're looking for other sources of revenue as you start pushing through it. Right? You've got masteries. You don't miss your shots. You know your setups. And you guys don't make bad pushes. You are in constant restraint as you work as a team, and you all look really good doing it. Right? Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a segment here and watch some clips where stuff gets cool. You know what I mean? All right, here we go. This clip here is my first 20 bomb in Warzone. It was quite an achievement for me at the time. I ended up at the end of this match, at the end of this game, at 27. So I almost hit my 30 bomb, but not quite. Anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and just, watch me hit that 20.
Come on, you fucking cunt.
There we go, baby. There we go, baby. Right there. Hit that 20 bomb.
That's what I wanted. Huh?
I hit it, bro. The guy was so pissed, too. My 20 bomb was so pissed, bro. There we go. My 20 bomb was so pissed there, guys. That's crazy. So yeah. With that 20 bomb, I was really excited. It was pretty cool. Definitely looking forward to more 20 bombs in the future. Also, if I haven't said so yet, Happy New Year, guys. I hope you're all having a Happy New Year. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. This is me popping into a room and deleting 3 dudes. You ready? No way I just did that to that guy, bro. No, dude. Deleted.
From that squad.
Massive delete. Massive deletion. That's crazy, guys. Okay, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and go into the question and answer. So if anybody's got some questions, definitely we'll put it up on our Perplexity bot that goes onto the World Wide Web. It can either find facts or it can find hearsay, stuff that communities are talking about or saying that they believe is going to be the next step or iteration into the Call of Duty realm. Or we can try and look up whether or not Activision has made statements or said anything or has promised anything. It's really up to you guys. But while we wait for that, we're going to go ahead and go into what Perplexity believes you need at each level for the game. So skill level, new to ranked play, learning the basics of the game, understanding map layouts, power rank examples, weapon mastery, focus on mastering a few primary weapons and learning the strengths and weaknesses, movement, practice-based movement techniques like strafing and sliding, awareness, develop situational awareness and learn to anticipate enemy movements. Team needs, communications, objective focus, teamwork. Right, that's the start. We're definitely going to go into Crimson and just kind of talk about Crimson, Iridescent, and then they do give us top 250. So, top 1% of players demonstrating exceptional skills, consistency, and game knowledge. They consistently dominate matches and are considered among the best in the world. Power rank examples, weapon mastery, master all weapon types and attachments, including exotic weapons and specialized builds. Advanced movement, utilize advanced movement techniques to outmaneuver opponents and gain positional advantage. Predictive aim, develop the ability to predict enemy movements and aim ahead of time. Team needs, strategic planning, develop and execute complex strategies, anticipating enemy actions and exploiting weaknesses. Team synergy, work seamlessly with teams, creating a cohesive and unstoppable force. Communication, maintain constant communication, providing detailed information and coordinating actions. Iridescent, skill level is the top 0.1% of players, demonstrating exceptional skills, consistency and game knowledge. They consistently dominate matches and are considered among the best in the world. Power rank examples: master all weapon types and attachments, including exotic weapons and specialized builds. Advanced movement, utilize advanced movement techniques to outmaneuver opponents and gain positional advantage. Predictive aim, develop the ability to predict enemy movements and aim ahead of time. Strategic planning for team needs, develop and execute complex strategies anticipating enemy actions. This is pretty much the same. You're just better at it. Top 250 players globally, demonstrating exceptional skill, consistency in game knowledge. They consistently dominate matches and are considered among the best in the world. Right. You kind of start hitting a level where pretty much it's just grind. It's just the same thing. Do the same thing over and over and over again, and do it more consistently, is basically what Perplexity is coming back and saying. You are more consistent at being good than you are at not being good, right? So, and you are hitting on this, you are truly hitting the top of everything at this point. So, ooh, excuse me, need some water. Bruh, I need water. There we go. That's a little better. Just gonna put that over there. Sorry if you guys can see it. All right. Doesn't look like we have any questions going on right now. Without further ado, we are expected to have Pickles and or TDI here next week. That's everything we have. The roadmap should be coming out here in the next couple weeks. If we get any news on that, that'll definitely be in our Operation Cod Talk podcast. And we are excited to see you guys next week. I don't necessarily know what we're going to talk about yet for next week's. But if we get the roadmap, we will definitely be going over and talking about the roadmap. We're definitely excited for season 2. Cannot wait for them to give us some updates and maybe fish out some of those cheaters, and having a giant ban wave coming along. That is something we can look forward to. And without further ado, as always, think good, do good, be good.